5. God Himself is the Creator Lord. Guru Nanak, Adi Granth. There are new people here today in satsang, and for them in particular, I put forward a request I have already made many times. Think about it. What is the teaching of the mystics, the devotees, the true saints? Guru Nanak says that each and every sage, ascetic, and friend of God who has searched for the Lord says first and foremost, we do have a God. There is a being who has created this whole creation, who has made all the regions and universes. The second thing is that He is found only by human beings, and only while we are alive. He has not given animals the ability to find Him, nor has He given it to the angelic beings. Kabir says the same thing. Even the gods long for this body, so through that body of thine, think thou of rendering service unto thy God. The celestial beings are restless, longing for a human birth so that they can worship the Lord. Even though many people think being an angel or a god is better than birth as a human. Who are these celestial beings? They are souls that did good deeds when they were humans, but did not do the practice of Nam. When they died, they went on to one of the heavens or paradises. They are undergoing the happiness earned by their good deeds. When they have undergone the fruit of their good karmas and their time is up, they will have to come back as human beings. So the first thing is, we do have a God. Second, it's as a human being that one can find Him. Third, He is inside us. He is not to be found outside. If you want to find Him, you have to do so within yourself. He is closer than we can imagine. He is sitting inside our heart, but He is so subtle that these ears cannot hear His voice. They were made for gross worldly interactions. When one gets instruction from the Master and listens to His voice, one develops the ability to be in communion with that extremely subtle Lord. Fourth, He is inside the forehead, above the eyes, not below. It's like the sun in the sky. Down below is water, and the reflection of the sun falls in the water. Whoever sees this says to himself, the sun is up there. What's in the water is a reflection. So whatever you see below the eyes is just a shadow. I often make the point that when doctors say they have cut up dead bodies but haven't found any regions, nor Sachkhand, nor God, the reason is that neither the regions, nor Sachkhand, nor the Lord can be found with the tools we have. If we become subtle and tear away the veil of the mind, then we'll find the Lord, because He is not something physical. We ourselves have to become subtle. And what kind of search should be made to reach those subtle regions? The answer is that the current that created those regions is in the center between the eyes. This current is called Shabda, or word, because there is sound in it. Guru Amar Das says, the creation and deluge, dissolution, occur through the Lord's word. Through the word, the creation evolves again. That Shabda is the creator of all, the sustainer of all, the destroyer of all. Call it a stream or current, it is truth, it is free from duality. Whatever has been made by the mind is duality, it changes. But the Shabda never changes. It is a current and is called by Guru Nanak hukam, command, because the entire creation is administered through it. He says, by the Lord's order bodies are produced. His order cannot be narrated. With His fiat the souls come into being, and with His fiat greatness is obtained. By His command the mortals are made high and low, and by His written command they obtain woe and weal, pain and happiness. Some obtain gifts through His order, and some through His order are ever made to wander in transmigration. All are subject to His fiat, and none is exempt from His fiat. O Nanak, If man were to understand the Lord's fiat, then no one would take pride. It has various other names, like Nam, Shabda, Akat Katha, unutterable discourse, Bani, word, Nad, musical sound, Gurbani, Guru's word, Kirtan, song of praise, Amrit, nectar of the gods. It is called Kirtan, singing God's praise, because it is the sweetest of all music. It is called Amrit because whoever becomes attached to it becomes immortal. In the whole of the Bani, the Adi Granth or teachings of the Gurus, you'll find either praise of Nam or Kirtan, or you'll find praise of the true mystics who brought the mind under control through Nam. It is this Shabda that Guru Nanak discusses and praises. Listen carefully. God himself is the Creator Lord, who of himself, creating the creatures, assays them. Guru Nanak describes his own experience when he says that the Creator of the whole creation is one. God himself is the Creator Lord. The one who runs this entire factory of the world, the maker of all the regions and universes, in short, the creator of absolutely everything, he is one. He says, God himself created the whole creation, and then he hid inside all of us. Then he starts searching for himself. He also comes to give us understanding of himself, and he remains hidden. But he manifests within a few to give us instruction. He himself is the true Guru, himself the attendant, and of himself creates the world. He makes himself into the master, and it is he who has already come as the devotee. That is the game he has made. He himself gives the rope of Nam, and it is he who merges us with himself and gives that understanding of himself. Can anyone else but the master say this? No. Guru Nanak tells us that there is only one primal creator for the whole world, but this is his experience, not mine or yours. So he is sitting inside us all, and he himself gives us instruction and takes us within. He himself is near, not far. Perfect are the persons who understand this by Guru's grace. He says that the Lord is sitting inside everyone's heart. He is sitting in the heart or mind of each person. What is closer than the heart? Nothing. The Lord is inside all of us. People make all these external efforts for nothing. He says, good people, God is nearer to you than anything. He is not far away. But it is a rare devotee, a Gurmukh, who gives up his own way of thinking, receives instruction from a guru, and goes inside. For Gurmukhs like that, he is near, whereas for those who don't go inside, he is far away. There is profit in associating with them day and night. This is the glory of the Guru's association. He says, listen, good people, if you too want the Master's love, then come to him. He will explain, but you must have the strength to act on his instruction. He says that being with people is something that everybody does. Spending time with our friends, with our family, with someone or the other. But if we go to a true master, we are the ones who will benefit. For he says the greatness of the saints is that they unite us with the Lord. Sublime are thy saints in every age, O Lord. With their tongue happily sing they the Lord's praise. Now he speaks of the true mystics, praising them. O Lord, you have come throughout the ages, manifesting yourself through your devotees. Not that saints are ever absent. They exist in every generation, and they keep passing on the instruction for following the path back to God. What is the Lord's praise? It is this melody of Nam that is going on, the Shabda. And he says that the attention of the saints is fixed in the Shabda day and night. Their tongue is enjoying the taste of Nam. Others only taste the sweet and sour of the world. The mystics experience the presence of Nam inside. They hear the melody of Nam within. Their focus is inside. The world's focus is scattered outside. He says that they are intoxicated on the sweet elixir that comes from Nam. They utter the Lord's praise, are rid of pain and poverty, and fear not anyone. He says the mystics praise the Lord. They are immersed in love for the Lord day and night, and they advise people to meditate on Nam and reach the Lord's home. They are intoxicated on love of the Lord. They're not afraid of anything or anybody. They are fearless. They have only one teaching. The road to the Lord's home is inside you, and you can meet him. They remain awake and are not seen asleep. By serving up truth, they save their associates and lineage. Now he praises the saints further, saying that day and night their attention is fixed on the feet of the Lord. They remain awake and are not seen asleep. Footnote: feet of the Lord. The phrase as used here refers to inner contemplation of and absorption in the Lord. End footnote. They are awake inside, even if they look asleep on the outside. They may even snore, but inside their attention is not asleep. When ordinary people go to sleep, the body sleeps and the attention goes to sleep too. They lose consciousness of the body and of their self as well. But advanced souls who have done meditation stay awake and remain conscious within too. That's how much difference there is between people who meditate on Nam and people of the world. There were many incidents demonstrating this in the time of Maharaji. Once my brother, Sardar Bhagat Singh Ji, was sitting outside by his door. Hazur Maharaji said that he would like to lie down for a little while. He must have rested for no more than 20 minutes or half an hour at the most, when he suddenly got up. My brother said, "So little?" Maharaji said, "I was giving satsang inside." So what else would he do? The saying goes, when there is a skillful young lady at home, the house shines. In the same way, this verse applies to him. They have not the filth of sin. They are immaculate and ever remain absorbed in the Lord's devotion and love. He says no dirt of the world sticks to them. They're like waterfowl that live in water, but when they fly away, they're as dry as can be. They have not the filth of sin. They are immaculate. They do not have a speck of dirt in them, and they love only the Lord and the name, whereas people of the world are in love with the world. We all love. Worldly people put their attention outside in worldly things. Saints put their attention inside in Nam. They are the winners. The world is the loser. O God's saints, understand ye the true Guru's word. This youth, breath, and body age and waste away. Earlier he praised the Lord, saying that all this is a play he has created, that he has hidden himself within everyone, and he himself comes as a master and tells us, "Here's the way to find me." He asks, at what stage is the world stuck? Very low. Then he says, get the path from the true mystics and mold your way of life according to theirs, so that you too can go back and sit in the lap of the Lord. Then he says, you got a human birth by great good fortune, but it is not going to last forever. So take advantage of it as soon as possible. You see, this heart has been made by the beloved Lord himself. Go inside, hear inside it the word of God, his name, and awaken your love for it. The fact is, this body is not going to last, nor will our breath, nor will our youth. That is why we need to take advantage of them as soon as we can. In other words, find a true master and catch hold of Nam, Shabbat, within. O mortal, thou shalt die today or tomorrow. Utter thou the Lord's name and meditate on it in thy mind, heart. He says that we have no idea when death will come. No one can say when they will go. And when death does come, it shows no consideration whether it comes to a child, a young adult, or an old person. If you have received instruction from the Master and have done bhajan and simran and gone inside, you are joined to Nam and liberated from birth and death. If you have remained stuck outside, you've wasted your time. He says, Nam is inside you. It's in your heart, nearer than anything. Go inside, make it manifest. Again and again you will get this instruction. Nam is inside you. Attach yourself to it. O mortal, eschew thou falsehood and idle talk. Death flays and kills the false one. Then he asks, what will happen if you don't do the Nam practice and you go on putting all your love into the world? Then he himself describes the result. If you have loved the false and impermanent all your life, you will become false and impermanent. Only Nam is true. Everything else is false. The various planes and regions are impermanent. That's why they go on changing. The world is impermanent. Kings and rulers are impermanent. They also change. So it comes down to the same instruction. Break your attachment for the false. Attach yourself to the true. He says if you keep on loving the impermanent, Kal will get you. Kal assigns his agents to each person in order to prevent them from getting attached to Nam. The moment someone's attention turns inwards towards Nam, they immediately put obstacles in the way. As long as the soul is within the sphere of mind and Maya, it will go on pecking at the bait scattered by Maya. When we escape from here by the grace of the Master, we are free. This is a foreign country, the domain of the mind, of Dharamrai, which basically means it's a sham, a fraudulent display. Anyone who remains in this alien land of the mind will waste away, consumed by illusion. The mammon worshipper is ruined through falsehood and mental pride, and putrefies in the way of duality. He says people who are completely absorbed in sensual pleasures die a slow death, eaten away day and night by Maya, never tasting happiness. They gave up Nam, got involved in the world, and became stuck in the sphere of birth and death. They die used up. Earlier, he described the state of the masters, of those following the path of Nam. Now he is describing the state of people who follow the path of the mind, and he says, listen, good people, give up illusion and do the practice of Nam. Abandon thou slander and jealousy of others. By reading and perusing, men burn in pride and obtain not peace. He exposes the hollowness of the path of the mind, and then advises us to go inside and attach the soul to Nam. He tells us to give up criticism. And what is criticism? It's looking on yourself as good and on others as bad. So people on the path of the mind are all critics. Why are they critics? Because they think other people are not as intelligent as they are. As long as they act in this way, they are critical. That's a sign of the path of the mind. But whether we are critical or greedy or egotistical, when we become attached to Nam, we will become clean. It is because we are still on the path of the mind that we are greedy, egotistical, and critical. The whole world is critical. He says, give up criticism. Give up egotism. Go inside and join yourself to Nam. Abandon thou slander and jealousy of others. Give up your attachment for others and give your love to the Lord. In other words, give up your love for the world. Throw out the path of the mind and come towards the path of Nam. He says that everybody wants peace. Some look for it in the Gita, some in Bhagavad, others in the Gospels. But religious books don't contain peace. Peace is in one place only. Go inside and attach yourself to Nam. Peace is in Nam. If peace were outside somewhere, Guru Nanak would not have said, Nanak, the whole world is in distress. Search your own hearts. Is anyone happy? No one is. So the question arises, who is happy? The answer is those who make Nam their foundation are happy. When you are joined to Nam, then you are happy. Then you are at peace. Meeting the saints' society, praise thou the name, and the pervading God shall be thy helper. Guru Nanak says, as soon as you can, get the method of Nam from an expert in Nam. Go inside and be happy. Then he says that the Lord is Atam Ram, the one that pervades the soul. He permeates every heart. So go inside, give your love to him, and be happy. Renounce thou lust, wrath, and wickedness. Renounce thou also involvement in the deeds of pride. Then he returns to the same instruction. Stop the flow of the 5 currents of lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego, because it is precisely through lust or anger or greed or ego that the attention comes from inside and scatters out. That is, the attention uses these 5 currents to scatter outwards. He says that we've been carried away by these currents for a long time. Now we must let go of our attachment for them. In other words, we must give up the path of the mind and catch hold of the path of Nam. If we lust after anything, it means we are enslaved by the mind. If someone has any other fault, it's because he is following the path of the mind. All worldly involvement is the path of the mind. Similarly, all love and attachment for the world is the path of the mind. He says if it weren't for those attachments, we would have returned to the home of the Lord ages ago. We have still not found that path. What does that path consist of? Gazing inside and becoming attached to Nam. We have wasted our whole life outside. If thou repair to the true Guru's refuge, then alone shalt thou be saved. Thus, O brother, the dreadful world ocean is crossed. Nam is inside you. It cannot be found outside. Go to an expert in Nam. Learn the method of Nam from him and go inside. Guru Nanak says here that there's only one way to escape from the cycle of 84, one cure. What is it? Go inside by finding a master, learning the method of Nam, and doing the practice. Hereafter one has to cross the river of all fire with poisonous flame. None else shall be there. The soul shall be all alone. Then again, he describes the path of the mind, saying that this is not all, that the sufferings and misery one faces on the road beyond death cannot even be imagined. The pain here is quite different. I get letters every day saying, I would like to die. I am so tired of this world. It is weak thinking to take an overdose of opium or poison, or to take one's life by some other method. Death is no escape from suffering. The fact is, if you violate life here, you have to pay for it up ahead. The remedy is in this life as a human being. There is no remedy in the hereafter. If you waste this body, you still won't find happiness. Don't ever think that by leaving your body behind, your pain and suffering will go away. If you love the Master, do not consider even for a moment taking your life, however confused you might feel. Guru Nanak says, if you do this practice, you will pass. Then he talks about the suffering we face after death. He says when we have to go to the court of Dharamrai after we die, there's a river of fire on the way. It's not just a little stream, it's huge, with great flames bursting out of it. There's no one there to help us, so we're all alone, burning up on fire. The ocean of fire emits virulently hissing waves. The perverse persons fall therein and are burnt. People who continue to be manmukhs, indulging in lust and immorality, have to burn in this fire. If you believe that what Guru Nanak says is true, then don't ever think of committing suicide. If we could settle pain and suffering forever by dying, wouldn't that be an easy escape? But no, he says that what we suffer here doesn't even come close to the suffering we have to face after death. Salvation is with the Guru. He gives its gift by his will. He alone knows the way to it who meets with the Guru. What instruction does he give us? What should we do? He says the path of liberation is Nam, and we get the method of Nam from a master. Salvation is with the Guru. He gives its gift by his will, his bana. And to whom does he give this gift? To those blessed by the pleasure, the bana of the Lord, blessed by his grace and mercy. Guru Ram Das says the same thing. Such is the Lord's preordained writ on my brow, that by Guru's instruction I have now come to embrace affection for my God. When the Lord has marked someone from the beginning, the Master gives them the method of Nam. O brother, ask thou him who has been blessed with such a gift. Peace is procured by performing the true Guru's service. Go ask those who have experienced the happiness of Nam through a true master. They'll tell you the same thing, that happiness is in Nam, and that anyone who wants happiness should get the method of Nam from an expert in Nam and become attached to Nam. So these saints give just one answer: become attached to Nam. And where can we get Nam? From someone who knows the secret of Nam. Without the Guru, one dies entangled in sins. Death's courier strikes him on his head and humiliates him. You haven't kept the company of an expert in Nam, nor have you acted according to his instruction. Just look at the world. Some go to temples, some worship idols, others engage in practices to control the senses. They're all going wrong. There is only one method. Attach yourself to Nam. Going inside continues to be the subject here. Ask someone who goes inside how he does it. It's come up in satsang before, that if you adopt other practices for attaining liberation, you achieve the opposite, bringing more filth on yourself, because those practices don't lead to liberation. Guru Nanak says, unless these people leave the domain of Dharamrai, how will they be liberated? There is only one way to liberation. And what is the way? Let go of the support of the mind and go inside and catch hold of the lifeline of Nam. The slanderous person is not freed of his bonds and is drowned to death in slandering others. He says that the whole world is tied down. All the various practices people do on the path of the mind are useless because not one of them leads to liberation. Then he says, once people have fallen onto the path of the mind, they drown. First, because they think they're more intelligent than anyone else, and second, because they keep criticizing others. On the other hand, if they would just come up above the eyes, they would swim across. Utter thou the truth and realize the Lord within. He is not far off. See thou him by casting a glance. He has just talked about the state Manmukhs get themselves into and how they are drowning. Now he talks about staying afloat and how we can swim across. He says, let go of your love for the false, for what is illusory. Go inside and give your love to Nam. Utter thou the truth and realize the Lord within. When the world is false, how can anything to do with it be true? Here it is gross, so give your love to what is true inside. When you love the truth, what you say is true. It is the name speaking. On the other hand, when you are out there talking the language of the world, you're speaking the language of falsehood. He says, listen, good people, the Lord is not far away. Just focus your hearing inside, where the melody of Nam is resounding. Embarking on the Supreme Guru's boat, cross thou over, and no obstacle shall befall thee. Thus is one ferried across the dreadful world ocean. He says that if you take care of this work, if you go inside, become attached to Nam, and become a Gurmukh, then there'll be no obstacles in your way. You'll go straight to the court of the Lord. That is the method for swimming across the ocean of this world. Now he says that the Lord is not far away. He is so close by. All you have to do is change the direction of your attention. So turn your attention inwards and unite with Nam. Within the body abides the Lord's name. Of himself, the Creator Lord is imperishable. Again, he gives the same guideline, that Nam is living right inside your body. The cord of Nam comes right into you, and it is through Nam that you will find the Lord. Just put your attention in Nam so that you merge into it. Nam is the creator of all. It is imperishable. It can never be destroyed. Imperishable means something that doesn't change. If we give our love to that, we also will become imperishable. When we die, we go where our love is. If someone has become attached to this illusion, he will become a dog or a cat. He will become a donkey. In other words, he will go into the wheel of transmigration. He will not be given a human form. The soul dies not, nor can it be slain. The Lord creates and cares for all. Through the name is realized his will. This soul of ours cannot be killed by anyone. Guru Nanak advises us to entrust our soul to the Shabda and taste the bliss of it. The soul has nothing but frustration and misery as long as it is in the custody of the mind. When we entrust it to the Shabda, we escape the miseries of birth and death. Over and over, we find the instruction to go inside and join the attention to Nam, so that our coming and going in birth and death will come to an end, and we will be free. He is immaculate, and in him there is no darkness. He, the true Lord, himself sits on the throne. Now he compares two conditions, the state worldly people live in, and the state of mind the lovers of the Lord live in. He says Nam is pure. In Nam is light. Guru Arjan says the same. Contemplating the name, there is the light of millions of suns, and the darkness of superstition vanishes. When you have gone into the sphere of Nam, the intense darkness inside you disappears. Without Nam, you're in darkness. Now Guru Nanak says that there is only one Lord, and he is sitting on the throne. Not that before him his grandfather was sitting there and then his father. Throughout the ages, it has been just the one. The false mammon worshippers are bound and made to wander in existences. They die, are reborn, and continue coming and going. He says that manmukhs and worshippers of Maya are loaded down with what is false. It's the same thing Swamiji tells us in his verse, your first bond. Your first bond is confinement to your body. First we came into this body. That is, instead of being universal, we became insignificantly small. The second, attachment to your spouse. With marriage, more bonds are added. Attachment to your children is the third bond, and the fourth is to your grandchildren. As your line goes on increasing, so do the chains. If your ear hurts, you have to go to a doctor. If you get other ailments, you still have to go to a doctor. When children are born, you are tied down some more. When grandchildren are born, well, earlier you just had the pains of your children. Now add to that the bondage of your grandchildren. Swamiji continues, who only lead you into a further network of their own relationships. Where is the end to this chain of involvements? As the family keeps growing, you're engulfed in worries day and night. So he says, the result of becoming attached to the world is that you have to keep coming back here to take birth and die. Where your desires are, there you reside. Puts it straight and simple. Now, if we put our attention in Nam and allow it to mature, we won't have to come back. If we don't put our attention in Nam, there is nobody who can take us out of this world. The Guru's slaves are the beloved of the true Guru. They meditate on that Lord, word, and sit on the throne. Pointing out the means of escape, he says we are all devotees serving out of love. Everybody loves somebody or other and becomes their devotee. He says when people love the world, they have to come back here again and again, and the world gives them pain and misery. But when they receive the method of Nam from an expert in Nam and develop love for Nam, they leave the sphere of transmigration and go and merge in the Lord. And what is their state then? They have gone inside and are sitting in the lap of the Lord, on his throne. And then Guru Nanak asks, through what method? And he himself answers, through Shabda. Again and again the saints and Shabda are being praised. They obtain the Lord's quintessence and know the state of their inner self. Such is the true glory of those who join the society of the saints. He says that when you catch hold of the essence of Nam, you know everything about the inner secrets. The essence of Nam is the fundamental essence in everyone and everything. Grasp this root essence and you begin the spiritual journey within. If you are still sitting outside, you have no inkling of what lies inside. That is the greatness of the essence of Nam, that all who catch hold of it end up sitting in the lap of the Lord. God's slave saves himself and saves his ancestors as well. His associates are emancipated and he ferries them across. Now see how much Guru Nanak praises Nam. He says that all those who work at meditation cross to the other side and are also instrumental in helping their relatives attain salvation. Nam is Nam. He says the saints attain salvation themselves and emancipate their families and their Sangat too. Nanak is the serf and slave of him who by the Guru's grace enshrines love for the Lord. Guru Nanak says, I also am his slave. Whose slave is he? The slave of anyone who has the strength to be absorbed in love for God, for Nam. So this is the extent to which the Guru praises lovers of Nam. I have submitted this point before, that all true mystics have praised Nam and Satguru. Now the same topic is discussed by Swamiji Maharaj. Footnote: the same topic. The ending is clearly a transition to another discourse, possibly even the one on Swamiji's The Uniqueness of the Path, that follows here. End footnote.